My very first time in a Mormon temple endowment, I thought, is this a cult? And I quickly had to brush that thought out of my mind because, of course not. My entire life, this was the most godly thing I could possibly do with my life. This is what I'd been waiting for since I was a child. I went through the temple for the first time when I was 19. I was in the first wave of missionaries to go out after the age changed for women to go from 21 to 19. And my entire life, all I wanted to do is serve a mission, so it was just perfect that it happened sooner than later and I didn't have to wait until I was 21. There were several people in my institute ward in Oregon that were all putting in mission calls and getting endowed around the same time, and so I had one friend that I didn't talk to a whole lot. We weren't super close, but we both got endowed around the same time, and we thought, it'd be fun if we just did a little temple trip together. So we planned a day where we were going to drive up an hour and a half to Portland together and just go through the temple. It was a new thing. We'd both only gone once or twice. So we go to the temple together, and of course you can't talk about the temple. The rule is you don't talk about the temple except for when you are in the temple. So we go through the whole session. We can't talk. It's just quiet. You do all the things, all the handshakes, all the veiling, all the stuff. And when we get to the celestial room, which is where it's just beautiful and peaceful, there's chandeliers, it's quiet, and you can pray and talk to God, she whispers to me, because you can talk here, she says, do you understand what the tokens are? We get the signs and tokens, but what is a token? Like, it's the names or whatever, but I don't understand. So I was like, I don't know. I don't really understand either, but they say we can talk about the temple in the temple, so let's go ask somebody. So we go downstairs, we're in the dressing room, and we're looking for the temple matron. So for those of you who don't know, every temple has a temple president, and his wife is the temple matron, and they're kind of just in charge of it. And so we find her, and we're like, hey, so we just wanted to ask you if you could kind of explain a little bit more about the tokens and what that means. And she looks at us and goes, girls, you need to have more faith. You cannot be asking this question. These questions just show that you're lacking faith. Don't ask these things ever again. Just go through the temple and pray about it and ask God to teach you. And that was just so shocking, and we were really confused why we couldn't get an answer about the temple while we were in the temple. And so we just kind of drove home in silence, and it was very awkward. So despite these things, I still stayed completely active and 100% devoted, never questioned anything in the church for the next 9 years. Up until I was 28, and God said, hey, James 1:5 applies to you too. If you have any questions about anything, I will answer them. And so I started asking God, okay, I want to understand these doctrines that they say to put on the shelf. And I want to know if I'm wrong about anything. And I told God, if I am wrong about anything, please show me. And that opened up the door to a lifetime of revelations. So since then, I was able to do so much prayerful study in the scriptures and in history and really learn where this temple stuff comes from. And I say all this to tell you my next Ex-Mormon Bible study will be on temples, and there's so much to cover that it will definitely be a series.